Tirana, the vibrant capital of Albania, is a city brimming with history, culture, and ambition. Located in the heart of the country, this urban center has undergone remarkable transformations in recent decades, evolving from a modest town into one of the most dynamic cities in the Balkans. Situated in a plain surrounded by mountains, and close to the Adriatic Sea, Tirana's geographical location has played an important role in its development, influencing not only its economy but also its unique cultural blend. Tirana stands today as a beacon of Albania's modernization, as it balances its ancient roots with a forward-looking vision. The city serves as the political, cultural, and economic heart of Albania, and it represents a melting pot of diverse influences from its long and complicated history. The city's history can be traced back to ancient times, when it was founded by the Illyrians, an ancient group of people who lived in the Western Balkans. However, Tirana as it is known today began to take shape during the Ottoman Empire, which ruled the region for several centuries. During this time, Tirana was a small provincial town, largely rural and far removed from the grandeur of other major Ottoman cities in the Balkans. In the 16th century, the Ottomans began to establish more concrete control over the area, and Tirana slowly became an administrative center. It wasn't until the early 20th century that Tirana began to emerge as a major urban center. After Albania declared its independence from the Ottoman Empire in 1912, Tirana was chosen to be the capital city of the newly formed Albanian state. This decision marked the beginning of a new chapter in Tirana's history, as the city underwent substantial changes to accommodate the needs of a modernizing country. Albania's first few decades as an independent nation were marked by instability, with political shifts, foreign interventions, and economic hardship. However, Tirana began to grow, albeit slowly, during the interwar period, particularly after Albania's declaration of a republic in 1928. During this period, Tirana began to develop a more distinct urban identity. Italian influence, due to the presence of Italian architects and engineers in the country, began to shape the city's architectural style. Italian neoclassical and fascist architectural elements can still be seen in parts of the city, particularly in government buildings constructed during the era of King Zog I, who ruled Albania from 1928 until the Italian invasion in 1939. Despite the relatively brief period of the monarchy, the early 20th century saw the beginnings of the urbanization of Tirana. The city slowly began to expand beyond its old Ottoman borders, with new neighborhoods and streets taking shape. World War II had a profound impact on Albania and on Tirana. The country fell under fascist Italian occupation in 1939, and later, in 1943, it was occupied by Nazi Germany. During the war, Tirana experienced a series of bombardments and disruptions that greatly affected its infrastructure and its population. However, Albania's resistance movement, led by the Communist Party, succeeded in liberating the country from foreign occupation by 1944, and Tirana once again became the capital of a new political regime. This time, however, the city's direction would change dramatically. Following the end of World War II, Albania became a communist state under the leadership of Enver Hoxha, a figure who would dominate the country's politics for the next 4 decades. Hoxha's regime had a profound and lasting influence on the development of Tirana. Under his rule, the city was transformed into a showcase of socialist realism. Hoxha's government prioritized industrialization and the construction of massive public buildings, often at the expense of individual freedoms and human rights. Tirana, like much of Albania, became a closed society during this period, isolated from much of the rest of the world due to Hoxha's policy of strict self-reliance. The communist era in Tirana was marked by severe restrictions on political expression, and many of the city's historic landmarks were either destroyed or repurposed to fit the socialist ideal. The most significant architectural project of the era was the construction of large concrete apartment blocks, which still dominate much of the city's skyline. The old Ottoman and Italian-influenced buildings, which had once characterized Tirana, were replaced by monumental, utilitarian structures. The city's landscape became a symbol of the regime's emphasis on industrialization and the centralization of political power. The regime also constructed numerous bunkers throughout the city and across Albania, as part of Hoxha's obsession with self-defense against potential foreign invasion. While the regime's policies may have brought some economic development, Tirana, like the rest of Albania, remained largely isolated from the global community. The lack of political freedom and the repression of dissent led to widespread discontent, and in the late 1980s and early 1990s, as communism began to collapse across Eastern Europe, Tirana became the center of protests that eventually led to the fall of the communist regime in 1991. The transition to democracy after 1991 was not easy. Albania, and especially Tirana, faced a period of uncertainty and instability as the country shifted from a centrally planned economy to a market-based one. The newly established democratic government in Tirana struggled to maintain control in the face of widespread poverty, unemployment, and political upheaval. By the mid-1990s, Albania faced a series of economic crises, including a massive pyramid scheme collapse that caused severe financial instability. During this period, the infrastructure of Tirana, which had suffered years of neglect, was further strained. However, the late 1990s and early 2000s saw a significant transformation in Tirana. The first real signs of modernization appeared as the city slowly began to open up to the outside world. In the late 1990s, the government, led by the Democratic Party, made strides toward integrating Albania into European and international organizations. Tirana began to modernize its infrastructure, with the construction of new roads, bridges, and modern buildings. The transformation of the city accelerated during the 2000s, as Tirana became a more cosmopolitan and dynamic urban center. The city's economy began to grow, driven by sectors such as construction, tourism, and services. The restoration of several important cultural landmarks and the opening of the National Art Gallery and other cultural institutions also helped Tirana gain recognition as a cultural hub. One of the most significant changes in the city came in the form of a shift in the city's identity. For much of its modern history, Tirana had been a symbol of Albania's political and economic isolation. But by the early 21st century, it had begun to embrace a more international identity, with the city becoming increasingly open to tourism, foreign investment, and international collaboration. The city's growth was fueled by both internal migration from the countryside and the influx of international migrants, including expatriates and foreign workers. With a growing population, Tirana's urban landscape began to change drastically, with new neighborhoods emerging, particularly on the outskirts of the city. The 2010s saw a renewed focus on urban renewal and improving the quality of life in Tirana. Under the leadership of Mayor Aryan Viliaj, a new wave of modernization began to sweep through the city. In addition to the construction of new buildings, efforts were made to improve green spaces, public transportation, and waste management. The revitalization of central squares, pedestrian zones, and parks gave Tirana a more welcoming and modern feel. The city's public spaces became more accessible to pedestrians and cyclists, with a focus on sustainability and creating a more pedestrian-friendly environment. Today, Tirana is an energetic and youthful city that has firmly embraced its modern identity. As the largest city in Albania, it serves as the country's political, cultural, and economic center. Tirana's streets are lively and bustling, filled with young people, street vendors, cafes, and shops. The city has become an important tourist destination, attracting visitors from around the world who are drawn to its rich history, vibrant nightlife, and warm Mediterranean climate. Tirana's downtown area, with its mix of Ottoman, Italian, and modernist architecture, provides a visual testament to the city's diverse cultural heritage and its dynamic transformation over the years. Tirana is also home to a thriving arts and music scene. The city has become a hub for contemporary artists, musicians, and performers, with a range of galleries, theaters, and music venues. The National Opera and Ballet, along with several smaller cultural institutions, provide a platform for both local and international artists. The city's culinary scene has also flourished in recent years, with a growing number of restaurants offering both traditional Albanian cuisine and international dishes. Despite the rapid modernization, Tirana still retains a deep sense of history and tradition. The city's historic sites, such as the Ethem Bey Mosque, the National History Museum, and Skanderbeg Square, continue to serve as important symbols of Tirana's past. These landmarks, along with the city's vibrant street life, offer a glimpse into the city's complex and layered history, from its Ottoman past to its more recent transformation into a modern European city. Tirana's future is bright, as the city continues to develop and attract both national and international attention. As Albania works toward deeper integration with the European Union, Tirana is expected to play a key role in the country's continued modernization. While the city faces challenges, such as traffic congestion, pollution, and social inequality, it is clear that Tirana is on the path toward becoming a truly modern European capital. In conclusion, Tirana's evolution from a small Ottoman town to a thriving modern capital is a testament to Albania's resilience and ambition. The city has witnessed political upheavals, economic hardship, and cultural shifts, yet it has emerged as a symbol of hope for the future. Tirana's ability to blend tradition with modernity, history with progress, makes it a unique and fascinating place. As the city continues to grow and develop, it is poised to play an increasingly important role on the European and global stage.